Good morning, field biology. Today we're going to talk through the fall constellations, which shouldn't take us too long. We only have 3 fall constellations to cover today. And then at the end of the video here, please continue to watch. I have a couple things to go over regarding grading and assignments and the other things we're going to do this week for class. So start off with number 1, Pegasus. And Pegasus, according to Greek mythology, is a flying horse. Another name that this goes by is the Great Square. And if you look at the picture here, you can see how both those names come to be. The Great Square is more of a shape thing. And this particular picture has a lot of stars in the background. So it might be kind of tough to, pick out what square we're actually looking at. If you ever get a chance to see Pegasus, it's a pretty easy one to find, I think, in the fall sky. And then we have some other stars coming off of that, and this portrays, some of the parts of the horse, legs and neck. It may not look entirely like a horse to you, but the other constellations that go with this one kind of make the story come together. The second fall constellation is called Andromeda, and Andromeda is the princess. And remember, we've already learned about the king and the queen, Cepheus and Cassiopeia, and this is their daughter, the princess of Ethiopia. And notice Andromeda is attached to Pegasus. So Andromeda constellation, I've seen other depictions of it in drawing and things. This is about all I've ever been able to pinpoint in the night sky are these 2 strings of stars coming off of that square. Notice its proximity to Cassiopeia, the queen, which makes sense. If you think about the story, the queen and then the daughter. So they are close in the sky together. And you may have also heard of the Andromeda Galaxy, which is near the Andromeda constellation. And that's right there. Also in the fall night sky, we have Perseus. Perseus is the hero. And if you have looked at the Greek mythology websites, you probably are familiar with the story of Perseus and Andromeda, and also the Medusa character, which Perseus is said to have killed and is holding up her head. And so here we get a view of Perseus. This one's kind of a tough one, kind of a stretch, I guess. We can sort of see a humanoid figure here. Maybe a cone head figure. Arms, legs, another arm, and guidepost star, which I forgot to put in the slideshow, my apologies, is Algol. And Algol sometimes represents the eye of Medusa, or the head of Medusa. And this is a star that has some unique properties as far as the magnitude of the star. At some points, the star will dim, and then it will have a time where it's brighter, and it has to do with, I believe, another star that's nearby. It's not a quick brightening and dimming; it's more of a several hour type thing. So anyway, you could read about that if you're more interested in knowing how that works. All right, moving on to some grading things today. The star size video reaction that you guys did last week. There was 2 YouTube videos that I linked to you guys on size of things in the universe, from protons and neutrons to cells to viruses, humans, animals, dinosaurs, and then stars, planets, the satellites of those planets or the moons. And your job was to write a little video reaction journal. My apologies. We're going to have to redo that because, as I mentioned, there is going to be some hurdles to cover in this online learning. And one of those hurdles is I forgot to put a name question on that assignment. So I have all the answers, but I have no names. I don't know who wrote what. So I'm going to repost that today. I am sorry that I didn't have the name in there. So you're going to have to rewrite that. Okay. One silver lining to that, though, is that some of you would have had some pretty low scores on there. Like a sentence was what some answers were made up of. One sentence isn't going to give you full points, right? Journal, we were covering a page, okay? So I said, give me a paragraph for each question. One sentence is not a paragraph, okay? And I'm not going to get into definitions of what a paragraph is, but, be complete. Give me a good amount of stuff to read, and I think you'll be okay. So here's the updated form that you will fill out. Star size comparison video reflection. Notice the top, the instructions. I always read that. It says, similar to a journaling assignment, aim for the equivalent of 1 page of handwritten work. Okay. So, what is your name? Once Mr. Polaris graduates from Etch-a-Sketch and gets on into Google Classroom knowledge, describe what went through your mind as you watched the videos. Etch-a-Sketch has videos. This would be an example of not 5 points, maybe 0.5 points. How will you apply this to your learning of the constellations, or how might this affect your learning of the constellations? I can draw Canis Minor on my Etch-a-Sketch. Once again, that's not going to give you a whole lot of points. So, talk about how you felt watching that. I know some of you referenced the sheer size is hard to comprehend, made you feel kind of, made you feel like you were a lot of unknown out there in the universe, things like that. How it applied to your learning, maybe understanding the scope of what you're learning, or maybe even make you more excited to learn about it. Okay, another thing related to grading and assignments is please make sure you guys are turning in your work. Okay, and by turning in, here is the view of what I see when I log into Google Classroom and I go to grades, and I deleted the names to protect the innocent here, but this would be my sophomore biologies, one of my classes of sophomore biologies, and this would be a student, this would be a student, this would be a student, and so on. So you can see here, genetic evolution out of 7. Evolution quiz number 1 out of 13, 11, 13, 12, 13. So, kids are doing the assignments. They're doing well there. But here's the problem. We got some missings. So if you notice here, read and reflect, 15 points. Missing. Okay. Done late. Something out of 15. Remember, you guys, I have to go in and read these, and then more than likely what I'll do is just punch the points into Power School rather than putting them into Classroom and into Power School. I'm learning here as I go, but notice how some kids have a turned in and some have a missing. This could be as simple as watching a video. And if you guys, go in, you watch the video, which I want you to do, or the lesson or the notes or whatever it is, there must be an option that you can say that you've done it and turned it in. So if you could please do that, that would help. Otherwise, my perspective is I log in here and I see these grades and I see all the missing work, and I don't know if kids are still trying to finish it. And then it's tough for me to really go in and start punching in grades in PowerSchool because I have to go from one program to another. So just one of those things, keep up to date, make sure you've looked at everything, make sure you've turned in all the work. I've had a couple emails from kids. For instance, yesterday I started to punch in grades, and in 2 hours I had 13 kids hand in late stuff after I had punched in grades because they saw they were missing it, and 2 send me personal emails asking about stuff. So another thing is I had kids asking about one assignment because they thought they turned it in, but it was actually a different one that they thought they turned in. So just those things we have to work together on. All right, tonight's assignment. Here's what I'd like you to do. Tonight we have somewhat clear skies. From about 9 to 11 is when our clearest skies will be according to the graphs I'm looking at right now. I'd like you to go outside and look for constellations. And I'll show you what we're able to see tonight on the next slide. Also, the Lyrid meteor shower is peaking tonight. Tonight is actually the peak of that. And so looking to the northeast, there is about 10 to 20 per hour, or 10 to 20 meteors per hour. So, every 6 to 3 minutes, your chance of seeing one is there. Could be higher, could be lower. And here's a website that you can go to if you want to read more about that. And kind of they give you some tips and some suggestions as to how to see the most that you can. So I thought about zooming with this, but I think that would be a distraction. I think it'd be a lot better for you to get outside, not looking at your phone, and just trying to observe on your own. So I'd like everyone to do that tonight. I will be out on our trampoline looking. What can you see? Well, here's a planet and star locator, and I'm running out of time here, but 9 p.m. This says April 21st, and so here's what we're able to see here. And maybe you can pause the video and look, but we see the circumpolar constellations in here. Looking to the northeast, Hercules and Lyra. This is where most of those meteors are supposed to be centralized. And you might be wondering, when you look at a map, it goes north at the top, south at the bottom, east and west. Why is it opposite? Why is it east on the left and west? Because this map is not to be laid down and looked at from above, but is meant to be held up in the air because you're looking up. And so if I were to put that in front of me and put this behind me like the back of my head, this would put east on my right side and west on my left side. So kind of interesting how that works. Okay, but you can zoom in. Should be able to see, for instance, Leo tonight, Boötes, Cephas Cassiopeia, what's that, Hercules, Auriga. So we'll see what we can see. All right, Thursday during class time, we will have a Zoom meeting. And what I'd like to do there is get outside, try to see your things tonight. Thursday, we can talk about what people did see. So, either make a list or make a mental note or even a picture if you'd like. We'll check in, see if anybody has questions. We can talk more about the grading stuff I addressed today. And lastly, we will look at the chart below with all the colors and names and symbols. And this is going to be our next thing that we are going to do. So if you're intimidated by the looks of that, don't be. It will be more explained later. It's not as scary as it looks. Okay, so I'll relink those videos and the journaling assignment. Until then, look up.